Salute.
I,
Wordsworth, Brooklyn, New York. How are you doing? Thank you very much for joining us. This is episode 70 of the Carrying the Culture show.
dope.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me too.
Now, so I had to lead with this one because it's an interesting story, man. Well, first of all, before we get started, I'll let everybody know if you got questions for Wordsworth, please use the questions feature below, and then we can pull them up. Also, just like on the page, if you get on any fuck shit, I will send your ass home because that's just what we do here. So don't get all wild in the comments, please. So here's why I had to lead with that one, yo, because you're on two joints that I really like from the late 90s. So I heard them shits, I heard this, I heard the shit with Tribe, saw like some joints from the Lyricist Lounge. I'm like, okay, where the fuck is the solo at? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the solo I think dropped in 04, but for me, I was so discouraged with rap music at the time in the early 2000s. It's kind of a forgettable period for me. I wasn't listening to anything new.
Right.
So to me, like, you quote unquote disappeared. And then I found out about music, some of your music later and stuff like that. So that's why I led with that. So where were you after Lyricist Lounge and kind of in between before your album dropped? Like, what was going on?
Really? Let's see. That's about because the album dropped 2004.
Yeah, so this was 01, I think.
Yeah.
Because you had one season of that, right?
2 seasons.
Two seasons, okay.
All right. So in between that, we dropped the EP, the Words EP, and hooked up with JF, who I got the EP. He had a label on the hip hop, so he put out the EP with me and Punch, and he also was putting out a single by Strickland, also an EMC member, produced by Ace. So that's how we ended up getting on Ace album. So within that same time frame, all of us being on Ace album, Ace had a tour in 2001. And we all went on tour for those past 3 years. I was just overseas touring with Ace, just like prepping my album and getting it ready.
Oh, dope. So you were just kind of adding fuel to the fire, getting ready to get ready to drop that.
Yeah, figure it out.
Right. So, what was it like as far as your first tour and stuff goes? Was that the first time you were on the road and everything?
Nah, that actually after the show we had a Lyricist Lounge tour. So then we went across the states, had the tour bus. We had 2 tour buses actually.
Oh yeah.
So it was dope. We had a tour bus that we were on, of course, and then there was also a tour bus. I think it was called like the John Lennon tour bus.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
A bus that would have a full studio that will follow us state to state. So that was kind of ill. And yeah, man, it was dope because we were doing all the big venues. So we was doing all the House of Blues. Any state you went to, we was in the House of Blues, a big arena. So that was a cool way because seeing people there, it was kind of like a mixed bag of people. So you had people at the show that knew me from all the underground stuff, and then you had people at the show that knew me from TV. And when I'm signing something, you would hear somebody say that, like, man, they don't know you. They don't know you. I've been following you, man. They just know you from TV. They don't know, So it was just like wild to see how people felt to show, how long they've been following me and what the my progress.
How old were you at the time?
At that time, I was, if I'm right, I was like 21, maybe 20. Yeah, maybe like 21, 22 around then. I think it was
okay. So you were. That's them years when it's just free for all, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because I was actually 23. I would say I was 23, more like 23.
Had you finished? Had you done the Did you go back to school? We're gonna get into the education stuff later. Were you already done with college?
That's what made me think about it because I was in college, and then after I was done with college, I was working at the World Trade Center, and I was just trying to figure out like. The main thing with me, I was always like working. I always had a job. I may still be doing some music stuff, but I always was like, I ain't gonna play that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't wanna play that game. To run around the city and nothing's real promised with it. So I was really just trying to figure it out. Also just trying to figure out how to be here for the long haul. Because at that time, it was hard to be, in that era with the backpack and then the commercial and then it was being so categorized. Nowadays, you just drop your project. It's not really. I don't even think there's a category like that no more. They don't put you here really like that. They might say the sound is this particular way, but they don't necessarily say the artist is that particular.
No.
You know.
Right. Yo, that's pretty interesting though that you didn't go to. You made a conscious decision to not go the starving artist route. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of cats, you know, by either choice or not, they're either just having to hustle or not working or whatever. Just so because talk to a lot of cats, and it's like a handful that have actually said, okay, yeah, I was working during this time, like because I was, you know what I mean. And so, no, it's just interesting that you chose to just take that route. Were you banking on the music, or were you just like, well, if it pops off, like how serious were you about it?
Well, all right. So I'm just kind of like a cautious person with things. So to give you an example, when Lyricist Lounge second season was on air, I believe even maybe the first season, I was at work, and people would watch the show, and they come in the next day and be like, yeah, "That was a cool episode," you know what I'm saying? Because yeah, it was the first season that was going on really, and then the second season too, I believe some of it. But you gotta believe, like at that time, I didn't know that I can go to TV. Remember, there was like a process. It was more so like you rap well, you drop an album, you get on some TV stuff, and then movies or whatever. I kind of like skipped the whole record deal thing. So to me, I don't know about this a little bit on edge. Like, all right. So I did the TV stuff, came back, and then I just always was on that, like trying to think forward of be here longer. So you know, even around that time doing music, if people kind of can delve into some of the stuff I did back then, at some point I stopped kind of rhyming about like battle rhymes. So when I would start getting featured on people's stuff, I would write stories. And then people used to come up to me about, yo, I like that story you said about that. And that's when it started learning that I needed to transition into that so that way my name could change. I just was just trying to pay attention, man, honestly. Anything I seen that we read in the source or magazines that I seen other rappers go through, I was like leery of it. That's the real. I was like, nah, I ain't trying to do the publishing situation. I see Ice Cube go up in the office reading the magazine. I see what was happening to Snoop, and I heard all the nightmares then. So I would have been a fool to just be like, nah, it ain't gonna happen to me with the pub or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta learn from the lessons. So I just really was trying to learn.
That's intelligence, man. That's called intelligence. That's why you're an educator, because that's smart. Like, because we don't hear a lot of people doing that shit for real. Like, you know what I mean? Just if you just sit back and observe, most times you can learn a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if you really look at it, right? I'm an example for whoever's coming up next too. So they're gonna look at what I did, whether it was right or wrong, right? So I would have been a fool to just been on some like looking at all these issues in which back then there was violence going on over a lot of those things.
Right.
Ox being on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Going in. So I think I would be a fool in some regards if I would have been like, nah, it ain't gonna happen to me. Here's my publishing vibe. So like just a lot of lessons I was looking at and made me really like cautious on the steps I take. Now, it might have hurt me too because I remember getting offered a deal by Avatar Records, and they did the Oz soundtrack, but they're publishing, and they offered me a lot of money for my publishing at that time. And I told them nah, because I said, if I get upset with you tomorrow, you still own my publishing. So now I'm writing rhymes for you, basically.
Yo, that's never really a good look, man. I mean, I can't see how the artist in the end can win with that agreement. You know what I'm saying? Even if the money up front is great, but like I'm saying, long term, yo, that's a shitty fucking deal, man.
You could if you do it after, of course, right? If they give you advance to use your publishing and try to offer for a set term, then of course. But overall, if you do that, you just gotta think about it, man. If you're mad at that person tomorrow, and you go write a verse of your boys out. When it gets registered, it's going to them, even though you're upset with them. And that could be for years until whatever advance is paid off. So you just find yourself in a bind. So I just try to just be proactive with a lot of stuff. But like I said, the information was there, though, for a lot of us.
Right. You weren't, I mean, it was obvious what was happening. I mean, this shit with people.
Watching it, I was watching it, man. I was watching the Nightmares, and I was like, nah. So, you know, I just was on some. I'll bet on me at all times.
No, it's sound advice, man. It's a pretty interesting story about how you linked up with Tribe. Can you share that? Like as far as getting on the on their joint early on.
Yeah, me and Punch had got well, me and Punch was rhyming on Stretch Armstrong by Beto a lot back then, and
that's right.
Riz and Eclipse, and then the mixtapes and the freestyles got around to the Lyricist Lounge, and it was like, we want you to perform. So we was like, all right, dope. So we got with my boy Kurt Gowdy, well-known producer. At that time, he was also working with Trackmasters, and he was doing songs and stuff. And we put together a show for Lyricist Lounge event at Tramps. And at that time, the host up, so they actually had to ask Q-Tip to host that night. And he was in the crowd. So he ended up hosting, and then days later, he said, yo, what's up with those two kids? He called looking for us. Lo and behold, though, it's such a small world. We already knew Kweli and Most, and didn't know Kweli and Most knew Tip. So then now we all end up just being kind of like a family like that, because we all kind of had the same acquaintances. So, and that's how we ended up on the Tribe album.
Oh, that's dope. So yeah, it was. I mean, it's crazy how big and small the world is at the same time. So you knew the same people, they knew the same, and then just the stars aligned and the shit happened.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been just like he hosted the show, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Ironically, the same thing is crazy, because I got a similar story. I kind of grew up with Most brother, not knowing his Most brother, trading video.
Really?
Yeah. And then I'm hanging with Most and Kweli at other events. And then how I found out was I got in a cypher with Most brother, and I said Wordsworth, and then he said, yo, you're Wordsworth, because he didn't know me as that. He knew me as Mel. Like, so he didn't know it. He just knew I'm rhyming with him in the cypher, but he doesn't know my rap name. And then we just stopped right there. It was like, yo, you this and that? He was like, yo, I didn't know that. And I mean, we was trading Nintendo games, coming to my house, all that stuff.
And you had no idea?
No idea. That's crazy. That was crazy.
That's nuts. I mean, because it seems like at some point there would have been some sort of overlap. You know what I mean?
Nah, it wasn't really. It really wasn't. With video games, it wasn't really about rapping at that time. You know, so it wasn't until like I got older, then it's like, see, we rapping, and it's like, find out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you calling me my regular name around my way. It just so.
Right.
Sorry.
Yo, so your wiki says, and I always preface it by saying your wiki, because that shit begins. Your wiki said you started rhyming in 5th grade,
right?
And I was thinking, like, man, we all did back in the day. Everyone was, rhyming. Like, so I don't know if it was around that time or not, but what made you say, okay, like, I want to do this? Like, or when was that kind of, was there a moment for you, or was it just kind of a gradual thing, or was it something like, yo, I got to do this shit?
It would be around 5th, 6th grade, because at that time it was hip hop is free, right? When you think about it, like, it's not like you got to pay to really go do it at that time. You go. I just felt like it's something that I saw people on TV doing, and it was all right. So if you're doing hip hop and you're dancing around your neighborhood, it's connected to the music, it's connected to the DJ, connected to your clothes. It was just, I was living it. So that's the way I felt. Like, I'm living this. This is what I want to become. So it wasn't until around 6th grade that I found out people were writing rhymes. I didn't even know nothing about rhymes, because nowadays, you got the inside of the studio. Look, back then, we only saw what people did, and outside, it was just people off the top of the dome who had a written rhyme. You never saw the paper. You didn't really see the writing. So I'm thinking that everything is off the dome at that time. Until I got 6th grade, and then I started writing rhymes. So I think that's what kind of made me a little, better at freestyling, because I totally went in it thinking that's what it was.
Right.
Until I think I saw a Crush Groove, and when they do King of Rock in the beginning, I think there's a pad there, and I was like, oh, they actually got rhymes written down. So it just that's kind of how it was for me with hip hop, and just seeing how it's all everything you do is hip hop, man. But it's just
Yeah, I always say that, man. It's and back then we didn't, you know what I'm saying? Back then we didn't call it hip hop. I want to go out and do some hip hop today, right?
no,
We just rhymed. It's just what we did. You were writing, you were b-boying, lunch table shit on the bus. It was just.
That's what I'm saying, right? Because it's so instantaneously that you can just do it anytime. You can just bang on it and you rapping that it just felt like, yo, this is what if this is all I need to do, I don't gotta buy nothing. All I gotta do is do this. My boy could beatbox. I can, and then you can wow audience. Because remember, that's a lot of people's first time wowing the audience when you're that young. Whether it was dancing, your family made you dance at the
Word.
popping. Everybody go, oh, I remember I used to go to Park Circle, the skating rink, and I would walk in the middle, do a backflip, and everybody go, oh, look at Shorty. And I felt like, I was like, okay, the attention. So, you know, it was the attention.
Right. No, it's crazy. And that's a good point you made, because you said it was everywhere, man. Like, it's how you wear your hat. It's how you tie your sneakers, how you pose for a picture, right? Like, how to move in the street. Like,
everything. It was
everything.
It was just
everything. Yo, I got a question for you. Can rappers, well, you're known for being, you know what I'm saying, lyrical. That's kind of like the, you know, the moniker, I guess. I mean, can MCs be too lyrical on tracks? Is there such a thing as being too lyrical?
Yeah, it is. It is, because it all depends on the aim of the song. That's how I look at it, right? Like, I tell people, like, if you're going, like, if somebody's trying to get to an address, right? You don't get so particular with the address. The nation. So I'm not gonna be like, yo, when you drive like 3 feet, a crack on the street, then you make a right there. They're gonna see the little snare. I'm just gonna say, yo, make 2 lefts and a right. It's right there. So how can I be as clever as saying making 2 lefts and a right on a song, but it still hits the same destination? Right. And I had to learn that, because when music is such a universal thing, you got to be careful if you're trying to get your message across in a matter of seconds and minutes. So in the same time frame, when you stop and you ask for directions, you know when you heard somebody give you directions and it's mad long. Everybody been through that. You need direction, and this person's taking, and then you drive off still trying to figure out where to go. You know what I'm saying? So I had to figure out, how can I keep it simply clever? I had to find that balance. So it's definitely, you could get too lyrical, but I mean, if you really want to look at it, there is a freedom to writing. So you write what you write, but definitely know there are consequences in writing both ways, right? I could write it simply clever, and there's people that don't say I'm lyrical enough for them. And then there's people that could write it with so much going on, and it's just too lyrical for the average person. So there's a balance there. You just got to find it. But yeah, you know, nobody likes getting too many directions when you roll down the window.
Right. And I guess to kind of add on to that analogy, it's like, I also look at it from another angle of, like, if you talk to somebody, you ask them a question, and then they give you this long-winded answer because all they wanted to do was hear themselves talk. So it's like, I feel like some MCs get caught up, maybe if they came from a battle background or freestyle background. Sometimes I know a couple people like this, where, like, it's like they just want to spit as much as they can, get as much out, and just wow you with that, rather than get a point across. You know what I'm saying? And really express a meaning.
There's a time and place. Everything is a time and place. You know, when you're performing, there's a time and place. If I'm on stage and I see what a certain audience is, I'm going to switch it up, right? And place. So you got to kind of read your audience, and I really think you got to really read the track. The track will, what's the best thing to do with it, and go from there. But like I said, we've all been there. Somebody's giving you directions that are too long, and then what happens is you bump into the second person. So let's say that second person is the next MC, and you roll down the window. I'm still trying to get it. Oh yeah, that's what you look. Yo, just go down here. You're gonna see the red store. Make a left right there. You're gonna be there. You be like, yo, good looking out, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, you know, this dude down over here gave me some crazy. So that's how I look at it.
Right. And it's funny, I mean, because a great example of that is Prodigy, who's considered, you know, one of the dopest cats.
Right.
And he's, you know, I was chopping it up with Big Twins, and Twins was telling me, he was like, yo, Prodigy was telling me, just keep it simple, man. Like, just just keep it simple. Like, it doesn't have to be. You don't have. He said, get your point across. You don't have to go over their heads all the time. You know what I mean? So, you know, and if you can do that well, then that's great. But sometimes, you know, you got a minute to really keep people's attention now, especially now. You know.
Also, when you look at the history of writing, in a way, right? Like, you have references to what's simply clever and that wows you from different artists. So you know there's a bar to it. You know, like Kool Rap is one of my favorite artists ever, and he was always clear, but it was always clever, the internal rhyme schemes and everything like that. I don't recall a Kool Rap rhyme that was just like so over my head I couldn't get. It was just the wordplay, finding the right words. And how I think about it when I write, honestly, I sit here for hours sometimes. It might be for a few lines. I sit until I think of something that I can hear from somebody else that will wow me. That's my bar. If I saw somebody on stage say what I'm saying, and I go, wow, that's kind of crazy, then I know what I'm saying is crazy. If it's something that I'm writing that I heard from somebody else and I would just be like, it's average, then it's average coming from me.
Got you. That's a good segue into another topic I wanted to get into. You recently posted that you don't typically share your favorites, and you posted a picture with a few of them. But I think I saw it in somewhere where you mentioned, you know, your admiration for G-Rap and the Juice Crew in general, and I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, talk about that a little bit, because G-Rap's in my top 5, and
right.
At 53, 54, that dude's still putting out heaters. Like,
yeah,
heaters. I was on a live. I was doing a live one time, man, and some dude came on and was like, "Why aren't you pump?" He's like, he said something like, "J. Cole was better than Kendrick or whatever," and I was like, better than G-Rap, and he was like, "Ain't nobody checking for G-Rap no more," and I was like, "What?" Like, my head almost exploded.
Right.
So, let's talk Juice Crew, man, and G-Rap, because I still don't think he gets enough love.
Yeah, I mean, as far as people comparing this person better than that one, everybody, it depends on what you listen to. You know how
that, of course.
But like overall, like for me, I loved Kane because of the videos and the songs. The songs he wrote were just like phenomenal at that time. And then I loved Ace because I could relate to Ace, not necessarily having to have so much like talking about brandishing guns and things of that nature. He just would have like topics on there, like the reminiscence song, the Brooklyn battles. Like there were songs on there I related to with that from that angle. And then Craig G, I always love Take the Bait. I always wanted to rhyme on that beat. So when we actually rhymed on that same beat on the Love Movement album on Tribe, I was like, when we had to choose beats, I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is the beat I always wanted to. And
Craig G is nice, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they're all nice. I mean, that Duck Alert shit, I still bang that.
Right. So with G-Rap, for me, it took older people to tell me, like, listen to other people that was older say G-Rap is that nice, and then other artists can give him his props to realize how dope he was. And then I started buying G-Rap stuff, because at that time, Road to Riches was dope, but it wasn't as big as In the Streets of New York to me.
No, it wasn't. It didn't get it. It didn't get that. It wasn't like that. That was the next level. That was another level. I think he leveled up. I mean, G-Rap's been around forever. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we got, everybody had like a freshman, sophomore, like, I mean, just like some early shit. I mean, like he leveled up, man. I mean, G-Rap is. Whew.
G-Rap for me was like my bar. So like right there, I was like competing to be as good as G-Rap. That's really how I think, totally, right? Like, if it doesn't sound at that level, I got to make sure there's a quality control. So for me, G-Rap is like, it's just incredible, man. G-Rap.
Pun kissed the ring when he met G-Rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people put Pun up there. Like, I mean, I fuck with Pun heavy, but it's like, you know, G-Rap is that dude, man. Still, like, he's still firing off missiles, and it proves.
And 38 Special. The stuff with G-Rap and 38 Special is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the fact you just got to go look for it and listen for it. You know what I'm saying? Actually, on that last album I got, the Champion Sounds album, I'm rhyming with G-Rap.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that joint.
Yeah, and crazy. Gates, my man Pearl Gates, how that whole thing happened was, if I would have never met Gates, I would have probably never had the song with G-Rap. Gates did a hook on a G-Rap album, and G-Rap returned the favor by rapping on our album.
Oh, word. That's dope.
So, yeah, man. So that's just like a dream come true right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's my man, Rev, out in Boston. My man M. Dot just did a joint in G-Rap, had a G-Rap feature on it. I mean, G-Rap is that dude, man. And
everybody mentions G-Rap. Just for everybody to know out there, Jay-Z mentions G-Rap on the Encore joint. Every rapper that you love mentions G-Rap. So that's what it is. Every big rapper that's out there, they mention G-Rap.
Yo, he did a joint with Tajay from Souls of Mischief, and
heard that.
It's crazy, and it's like they, out in the Bay, they were like, A+ and the cats be telling me, it was like, yo, Festo, he was like, yo, G-Rap is that dude, you know what I'm saying? So, who else? We got a trend going around, which is a good trend these days of trying to give people flowers. We know a lot of people are passing, and we're getting older, and a lot of our, you know what I'm saying? A lot of our vets are leaving us way too early. So, who would you give some flowers to? You know what I'm saying? People that like maybe should get them that don't necessarily get them. Just people off nothing, no orders, nothing. Just you know what I'm saying? Like that stand out in your eyes.
Man, I'm trying to think. Well, Redman. Remember this?
He's in my top 5.
Redman is one of those people that when Redman came out, he changed the game too. Even not only did he change the game lyrically with the way he rhymed, the way the albums were structured. The album was structured a little different too back then. The way, the interludes and the different beats and all that. So I would say Redman, my brother Ace, of course, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's been here.
Longevity
is next level. I'm trying to think of just, I think Lauryn Hill too. Because a lot of people don't mention females a lot too often, but Lauryn Hill, man, at some point everybody thought Lauryn Hill was the illest, not because she was a girl or nothing like that. They just thought she was the illest, not because she was a female, just because she was dope.
Yeah, and you know what, man? To really talk about that, people would be like, yo, this is my top female MC. And I'm like, yo, what's the fucking difference? This ain't basketball or football. Like, so I whenever I post like certain female MCs like Bahamadia or Jean Grey, I'm like, she will body you regardless of you right. Boy, girl, fish, whatever. Like,
right.
That shit I've never understood like why there's a distinction in that, because it's not a physical sport where it's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember when I first saw Rod Digger perform at SOBs, and I'm up here like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, they stand it right there that they can't play games with her with the bars. So I just try to pick people like that. Black Thought is another one like that I would do. These are just like people that are just like, when I heard them come out certain times in my life, I was just like, I had that spirit in me to like be competitive. It made me want to write bars and stuff like that. So these are people that made me look at the way the game was and inspired me to just always be writing some dope.
I mean, you basically just spilling out my top 10. So I appreciate the fucking the Zen connection, because I'm like, all right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because people, when they came out, there was a change. Like, even when it's not like they just came out to be coming out and dropping music. When they came, it an impact, and then they got albums and songs. So yeah, it's.
I mean, Redman definitely came with a force, like a rush, right? These people came with a wave, like the tissue in the nose, the fucking
right.
They came with a whole persona along with it, and just bum rushed you. Like, you gonna feel me.
Think about the hardcore video. That might have been the first video I saw like that. It was like a promo video, just his verse on, and it made you. I remember getting the phone call after the hardcore video went off. Like, yo, did you see that Redman? Who's that? Vibe. So that was like one of the first kind of like promo videos like that you just put out. Nowadays we just do that. you do your verse, you record your verse and upload it. That Redman Hardcore video is one of those first ones.
You can bet on drop heavy so girls grab your Kotex. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, he came out like just, I mean, the face and everything. I mean, he was, you know, so, I wanted to get into the education thing a bit and the teaching. Like, it takes a special person to do that. Salute, you know what I mean, for doing that, especially if for those in many of the public school systems and things like that, because it's, you know, it's a thankless task sometimes. And my ex-wife is a teacher.
Oh,
so why and how did you get into that area?
man, well, my youngest was failing class. This was like 5th grade. So first the grades was up, brought a report card home. Next thing you know, it was like D's and F's. And I was like, yo, what's going on over there? So I went up to the school. So I said, let me go see what's happening. And I go to the classroom and I meet the substitute teacher. And he says, yo, I'm a veterinarian. I really don't know what I'm doing up in here. He told me that as a parent, he doesn't know what he's doing in there. I'm livid. I go down to the principal office. I wait for about an hour. So
he told you that?
Yeah, the sub told me that. Yo, I don't up in here. To be honest, he was kept it real. He said, I'm a veterinarian. They got me in here. I don't know. You know, just looking to get that check. So, but he kept it real. I went, like I said, I waited an hour, get in the office, and I told the principal, you know, this guy upstairs told me he don't know what he's doing in here, and she just told me that there's not enough subs in the district. So, long story short, I was livid. I said, oh, well, I'm going to go down and apply to be a sub so I could teach my daughter's class. And so I went, I filled out the paperwork. I dropped the paperwork off. In that meantime, another sub was in my daughter's class, and then she's supposed to be straight. That sub came, or it was supposed to be a permanent teacher, left. After that one, I was heated. I got out of that class. She went to another class. She cried a few days. I just went up there every day for lunch with her with McDonald's, tried to keep her calm, you know, sat there with her every lunch day. And I just explained to her the situation, you know. I fill out the papers. I drop them off downtown. As soon as I drop the papers off, I'm about to turn around and walk out. Literally, I drop it off. I'm walking out just to be a sub. And this white lady comes from behind the desk and says, what are those for? I said to be a sub. She said, you don't need to be a sub. You need to be a full-time teacher because there's a lot of young minority and black males that need you to be in that classroom full-time. And I said, all right, now it's it. That's really it. I didn't hesitate. I just said, all right. Because, like, that's the realest question and the caller I ever had in my life, right? Like, I've never had nobody tell me straight up like that. That's not even her race, nor her culture probably. So she's like showing how much she cares so much to tell me the real, like, yo, they need you out here. It's like a war in a way, you know, like, yo, they need you. So when she told me that, I said, all right, cool. So I right there. And then I had to go to a teacher fair. And at the same time, I'm in Brazil at one time in a van and get a phone call from the teachers that want to interview. And I'll come to find out later, they thought I was like playing video games or something. I was like, but no big. I was in a van in Brazil on tour. You know what I'm saying? Like when they heard noise. And yeah, man. So that's what made me do it. Like I done did a lot, right? And I try to make sure I'm doing music and everything I do is to leave and lead a legacy of a rippling of through music, right? That's why I write the verses the way I do. That's why I take hours to write them. That's why, because it's more than just having a beat under it. It's more about you being able to read it too and get the same impact, if not more. So when I was asked that question, it was a no-brainer because if I would have left, I actually feel I would have held the blame of all of that for my lifetime. I would take blame in anything that any of those young men or young ladies would do down the wrong path when I had an opportunity to change. So that's pretty much that's the story. That's how
Wow.
I
Yeah, major salute for that, man. You know what I'm saying? And really,
thank you.
props for like having the awareness to recognize. We always say like, show me a sign, and then sometimes there's a fucking sign and you just move that shit out the way. Like so props for just understanding, okay, this was the calling right here. Like this is what I needed to do. Like, you know what I mean? You like
well,
you went with it. It was
the realest question asked of me. I haven't had no question. I mean, somebody asked, "Yo, could you look out and buy me food?" That's like nothing, right? Like, yo, boom, what you want? Yo, can you loan me this? You know, whatever, some money. Yo, yeah, boom, that's that, and it's done. That question with the wrong answer, it reverberates for generations. That can lead to damage for generations. So I was able to just say, as soon as it was asked of me, that was the biggest question with the most weight I've ever had asked of me.
no, you rose to the occasion, man, and I salute you and appreciate you for that. Fuck the music. I mean, like just as a person, like respect, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying, like you stepped up, and you know that's needed. So for real,
Thanks.
appreciate you. So, how's that whole changed your whole, you know, affected your career? How do you juggle all that family, like?
You know, I'll keep it real, man. The way I juggle it is once I go there and I do what I got to do, I don't bring it home with me. I see a lot of, like, I know a lot of teachers that bring stuff home with them, but you are only paid for those hours, you know? So I would just say, if I had to give advice to that, I would just say, yo, just make sure you set up your stuff so that you don't bring that home with you. So, you know, once I'm done, I'm done. I'm straight music and family and stuff like that. That's it. I'm not trying to be up all night. I'm not reading the papers at night. I'm not doing nothing on the weekend. Like literally, once the computer's closed, that's it. Like you can't reach me. That's it.
I feel you.
And so, I made sure I made that pledge to myself, though, right? Like, and that's how I am overall, right? If I'm going to do something for you, once I do that for you, or if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and then that's it, right? I've done that, so now I got to make sure. The main thing I want to make sure is that I'm working harder for myself than I am for other people too, right? Because there's so much that you can do and that that I want to do and accomplish that I can't just like give my every second to something that is ends, right? That stops at one stop. That's it. That's done. You know, I got things I want to accomplish. There's books,
Right.
there's things that I want to do. So you got to really be able to cut it off.
No, listen, that is sound advice. I live by that. I'm almost having trouble with my job, but I mean, I let them know I let everybody know when I get hired now. Like, I'm doing 40 and that's it. You got me for that 40. I'm there. I'm all in. After that, don't call me, nothing. And if you can't fuck with that, then don't hire me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're good. Like, so that's sound advice. Please, everybody, don't if you're doing anything, don't give yourself to something that you're not really, you don't want to give yourself to, man. You got to have some boundaries with this shit.
You got to have boundaries, man. You got to have boundaries.
And stick with them. Otherwise, they're not boundaries.
Oh, and that's what it is. Like, that's what it is with me. As soon as that clock hit, I'm out and I'm focused on family and other accomplishments and goals and things like that. So
Right. No. So, the term conscious artist, conscious rap has been around for a while. Do you consider yourself a conscious artist? If it, in quotes, like is that?
I think I would say I am an artist that's aware of what's going on. If you like that, I'm aware, but I think I'm just more of a narrator, storyteller. You know, that's really it. I don't want to say like I'm conscious, and sometimes that has a connotation of knowing it all. You know.
Yeah, a little preachy, self-righteous shit.
Every movement that's going on out there and all that. Nah, I'm just a storyteller of what I see going on socially and maybe economically and things like that. So that's how I look at it. You know, like I'm a storyteller with it. I'm well aware of what's occurring, and I'm able to narrate it for the world.
Right. No, I can dig that. Talk a little bit about I just found out about this. My man told me about this. The children's rap joint. I haven't heard it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's good with that? Please enlighten me.
Yeah, so I've been doing cartoons and stuff for a minute too. So how that occurred was Prince Paul.
Like print cartoons or animated?
Not animated. So Prince Paul, this is how I first met Prince Paul.
Legend.
Prince Paul, me and him have the same publishing administrator. So ironically, he gets a SpongeBob SquarePants movie soundtrack, and he already had the situation. He had an instrumental, and he was looking for somebody to rap on the beat. So either way, he had the situation solidified. So I believe he contacts our publishing administrator, Michelle, and she says, Paul is looking for somebody to rap on this track for the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
What?
I go out to Paul. This is the first time I see Prince Paul. You know what I'm saying? So I go out to Prince Paul's house, and I lay a rap on it. He pitches it to them. He said, yo, you know what I'm saying? So they end up liking it on the soundtrack, and they make a video of it. So if you type in
I'm looking it up.
Prince Paul and Wordsworth, the Bubble Party, and they made a video out of it. So that's one, right? So that works out. Prince Paul gets another cartoon. He gets a Dexter Laboratory hip hop CD. So he calls me again like, hey, let's see if you can do this one. Another one works. And they make another video out of this one. This one is called Back to the Lab Again. So that becomes like a big record to the point they make a video out of it and stuff like that. So now it's building a good rapport with me and Paul. Like, you know, one, I'm over there talking to him, able to soak up so much game. Like Paul's like a big brother to me. So like him and Ace are very similar they've been around so long that they still do quality things, but also they give me a mindset of calm and how to look at things and how to observe things, not as just an artist, but as a man growing up in the game. So business wise, I can talk to them about anything. Like I'll call Paul about stuff that's just like, I'm thinking this, what do you think? I'm call Ace, same thing. So I look at them as two steady figures in my life as far as business and hip hop. So after that, that's how I ended up getting on Paul's album with the song with Chubb Rock and MF Doom. So that I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So next thing we do is another kids album called it Dino 5, which has me, Charlie Tuna, Ladybug Mecca, Scratch from the Roots. So we do that. So then fast forward, this thing is working. Now, some people may think it's like easy thing, but it's actually not easy to write these cartoon songs. There is a method, and I kind of figured it out. So I figured it out from the first one. I kind of knew because remember I came from TV, so I already knew how to write a specific thing for particular
for television. Okay.
Background. So I already knew when I went in, it kind of was dope because I might have came in confused if I didn't have that background with him.
Right.
So we get one of the latest ones now is if you go on Netflix on Peabody and Sherman season 1, episode 2, it's me and Paul right now. You can watch that now. So same thing. We get on the phone with DreamWorks or Freeway, you know. So it's like this is what we're doing. I told we had to pick between these particular years of what got invented, this research. Hit Paul. I said, yo, I got an idea for the beat I want. Paul made the beat. My wife sings the hook. We submit it. It's a go. They made a cartoon out of it. So you can watch that anytime. A lot of people to this day, they just watch it. Because, you know, you're with your kids and you throw it on. It's just kind of like keep your kids.
What's it called?
Peabody and Sherman season 1, episode 2. It's on Netflix.
Yeah. What's it like writing in that, having to be in that mode though? Like, I mean, you know, you think, you know, we going from 90s hip hop or 80s, you know, like, what's it like going into that zone, like artistically?
Well, I think I had to embrace what I am and who I am overall. And that's from like the experiences I'm a writer more so than anything. So for me, it's just kind of like just part of the job in a way. Right. So like I could write anything. You give me anything, I could write anything. So it's just really that vibe of just like when I'm writing that particular thing, I know exactly how to write it because I know that it's gonna be a cartoon. Let me just say that. So there's a mindset of how to write it. But it's just the fact that I love that to be considered for that stuff and having that track record of back to back to back to back, even to now, that if somebody's looking for that particular thing, you can say, oh, hire that guy. So that's kind of how I look at it, is everything I'm trying to just make sure my tool shed, like some need it, I go to the tool shed and I can just be like, oh, I got that wrench for that. Oh, I got the screwdriver for that. So you can give me any song and anything like that. So I embrace myself more as a writer as opposed to just being a rapper, you know? So that's how, yeah.
That makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? Versatility, that's a whole different lane. And, you know, and it can be quite lucrative if not a lot of other people are in that lane. So it's like, you're just, like, it's like taking the HOV shit, you know what I mean? And you just cruising, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Cool to have that there. And that's something that I can always have on my resume, people tap into. So like, and then there's other stuff with stuff in TV shows. Like, I got a group called The Idea. It's me, Pearl Gates, Scott, Robot Scott, which actually he does like Kanye stuff now and the new Diana Ross records, Reigns the Messenger and Jacqueline Constant. So we're like 5 entities solo. We got together and we did a song called Reloaded. That song Reloaded was actually on the last season of Power when Ghost is coming out the club and Tommy's trying to get him. That same song Reloaded is on Criminal Minds. What's the other? NCIS. And then the movie right now that's out on cable is called St. Judy. I actually have the song at the end, me and Sticks Bones. So as soon as it starts at the end. But if you watch Hurricane Season with Forrest Whitaker and Lil Wayne, that's EMC at the end of that. So it's just like a lot of different avenues of you may not see me everywhere, but I'm learning how to accumulate things from different arenas, man. You know, so that's really what it is.
No, that's dope, man. That's thank you for sharing that. It's a dope lane. And my father was in TV for a long time, so I'm familiar with some things behind the scenes with it. It's a cool thing to be in. It's like, yeah, like you said, we may not see you, but it's like you're putting out some dope shit. And so I'm gonna share this with my daughter. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so that's why so that's what's up. We don't have too much time, so I wanted to get into some, one thing. I heard you got a cypher with Kobe Bryant.
Oh yeah, man. I did cypher, right, man. That was kind of wild because at that time, me and Punch was hanging around Track Masters, and Kurt Gowdy was the producer for our EP, and he's one of the Track Masters at that time. He actually did like the Nas Shootout records and a lot of in www.nori. So at that time, Kobe was signed to Track Masters, so we was in Track Master Studios all the time, and I'm sitting in the lounge, and he come walking in, and then it was like, yo, you have to get a cypher with Kobe. So it was Kobe and man Brody, and we went in the booth, and we was just like rhyming, doing a cypher. And then Kobe's boy runs out of rhymes, and Kobe at that time was a huge cannabis fan. People don't know he was a cannabis fan. He was rhyming like cannabis. That's how he was rhyming. So you would think Kobe, when he came out with the song with Tyra Banks, that's because commercially. But like on some lyrical stuff, Kobe said, "I quantum leap into the future so I could battle myself." Like that's what he said that, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay." Like, and then we went around. We just kept going. His boy ran out of rhymes. He was mad. Told the boy, "Yo, you need to be in lyrical fitness." So he was using that. That's when that terminology out of cannabis brought. He's like, "Man, I can't believe you ran out of rhymes. You're supposed to have bars."
So Kobe had bars.
Yeah, he rhymed like he was straight on some battle rap stuff. Yeah, he had bars. He was straight battle rap, but because he was Kobe, he was commercial vibes, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, bars.
When was this, man? When did you say this was?
This had to be around, I would have to kind of date it. Cannabis came out. When did Cannabis come out, like first come out? 90.
Yeah. Because Lakers on my squad, so I'm curious just where that was in his career.
It'd be 99. This had to be
98 was when the joint came. 98 was when
that's cool. Right. So this was 98, 99, because then I remember calling speaking to Kobe on the phone, was trying to get him on the lounge show. and that's when I was trying to get him on that first season. He couldn't get there because he had practice. So yeah, it was around 99, around then. Yeah.
Damn, we talking practice.
Yeah.
Damn. Yo, that's crazy, man. That's like one of my top favorite players. Yo, wow. Like, yo, real quick, because you were showing. I saw you on I think it was Destroy's show, showing your Westbrook joint, that you had, and that made me think. So I talked to Breeze, bro, and we did a basketball like episode. We just talked hoops.
Yeah.
And me and Festo talked hoops a little bit. So I was like, okay, he was doing some ball shots. Let me talk hoops with this cat real quick.
Well, you talked to Breeze. Breeze's teacher, right? And when I first started teaching, I was on the phone with Breeze like, yo, how do I do a lesson plan? How do that? So I got to shout Breeze. I always text him and say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because he guided me in the beginning of some things, man. Definitely.
Wow. That's what's up, man. And I was thinking, man, you, Defari, Breeze, like whoever else, like that would be a dope, like fucking educational, mind-blowing. So I'm putting it into the ether, like just I'm sprinkling it out there like pixie dust, man. Like
check
fucking
the Rawls and John Robinson got a dope album.
Oh yeah, John Robinson too.
Yeah.
So that would be a dope fucking. So just sprinkling it out there, man. All right, so since I saw you showing some of the basketball joints, got me thinking like real quick right now. I was like he fucks with point guards. Top point guards in the league right now. Your top.
You gotta go with right.
Huh?
Steph. You can go Steph. Even though he's like more guard, but he could play either, right? Steph, Dame. I'm gonna go Ja. Ja's point guard. Ja Morant. Ja.
He's kind of a combo, but he's a point guard though. I mean, he's got his assists up. I mean, he plays like because of his athleticism. I mean, he's yamming on niggas all the time. I mean,
go with Ja. I'll go with Kyrie still. I ain't gonna front on Kyrie.
Kyrie's a killer.
And then
he's a weirdo, but he's a killer.
Man,
where you got Chris Paul at right now?
I'll go Chris Paul. I'll go Paul in there. Yeah. Because with Chris Paul is steady. You know what you're getting coming down the court. You know, that's one of the things I can say I kind of compare rap to, where I'm at in my life with rap and with other things, is that the game is slowed down for me, that I'm not like frantic with it. Like just the whole thing is slowed down for me, that I understand what I'm doing and things like that. Now I understand what they mean when I watch analysts say that.
Yeah, you Tom Brady and these niggas right now, man.
Yeah, the game.
You know what I'm saying?
But that first pick, hype, you trying to figure it out. But at some point, you just get a point. You just kind of like, yo, just chill. You know?
Right. And muscle memory kicks in. You know how cats are moving. You know what I'm saying? And know how things go. You've seen enough things where patterns are forming, right? So you're not surprised by shit. So yeah, you can sit back in the pocket.
Yeah, that's kind of the slow down for me, man. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and Chris Paul. I mean, back to the basketball. I don't like him that much, but if you look up point guard in the dictionary, I mean, he's a point guard. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, no, Kyrie's still a killer. He's still a killer, man. He's still must see TV.
Yeah.
Must see TV. Yo, do you like what's your thoughts on Luka?
Oh,
Festo's a big Luka fan, and I think Reese fucks with Luka too.
I like Luka. Luka has no fear. There's no fear in Luka, so he'll pull the game winner, and I would say 8 times out of 10 that's dropping. I like Luka. Yeah, I like Luka a lot. He's fine.
Real quick before we go, new album, pretty recent.
Yeah,
What's good with that? What's on the radar?
New album right now is Undivided Attention. JF and Wordsworth, Undivided Attention. Check that out right now. You get that everywhere, all platforms. You also could get the CDs on Fat Beats. Also, I got a book, Words Are Worth, Volume 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you get this book here, that book actually made it to top 10 of Amazon releases when it came out, and poetry releases. So make sure you cop that. But yeah, get Undivided Attention, man. It's produced by you got 5 joints Jay DePina, 1 joint Kills with the Heat, and 1 joint with Donnell Smokes. And we got my wife Adanita singing the hook, and we got Ace on a song called Remember. That Remember record is one of my favorite records I've ever done.
Jay DePina is nice. It's a solid project, man, and I'm glad I got to hear it. The Sinister joint is dope. It's got some joints on there.
Yeah,
and
got another album. My full length album comes out February. It's already handed in and everything.
Oh, word. That's what's up. And so the book. I was gonna ask you real quick. The book is it's a book of poetry.
It's actually the New Beginning album, and I break down every 4 bars. I'm talking.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I break it down. I got stories in there about me in South Africa. I got photos of me in South Africa and traveling and touring. But I break down all 4 bars because it's basically if you could ask Shakespeare what he meant instead of us speculating what he meant. So yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up. Yo, this was episode 70 of the Carrying the Culture show. Next week we got DJ and UT. We got Brother Jay, Boogie Frantic, DJ Ace, and then A+. We have Wordsworth. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you.
Great conversation, man.
We gotta do it again, man. I got another show right after this one, man. Save the Hip Hop Culture, so it's back to back. So I do not like to be late, but so we got to do it again though, because you know, that was fun, and I appreciated a lot of the information that you shared. That was very helpful for people, man. Like so.
It's a lot we could do, different avenues, man. Just open our minds.
No, that was dope, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll get this up on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, and I'll tag you on that always. So thanks again, man. I appreciate you, for real.
Y'all be safe.
All right, salute, everybody. Thanks.
Peace.